Right now, tens of thousands of acres are burning across California and Washington. 67,000 people have been forced from their homes, nearly 850 structures destroyed. And one of these fires, 10,000 acres, mandatory evacuations, schools shut down, was started by one man on his birthday, cutting scrap metal with a saw and dry vegetation. One spark, 10,000 acres. That is the story we are breaking down today. Multiple major wildfires are exploding simultaneously across the American West. Driven by temperatures pushing past 100 degrees, bone-dry vegetation, and winds that are absolutely refusing to cooperate with anyone on the ground. And here's the interesting thing, the drought conditions fueling all of this so deep in the soil that even weeks of sustained rain would not fully fix it. We are going to break all of this down state by state, fire by fire, with the most current verified data. So let's get right into it. All right, let's start down in California because the Gann Fire is one of the state's top wildfire priorities right now, and it is not hard to see why. This fire ignited Monday evening, that's August 3rd, near Hogan Dam Road and Gann Road in Valley Springs, Calaveras County, that is in the Sierra Nevada foothills, east of Stockton, right along the Highway 4 corridor. By Wednesday evening, August 5th, the Gann Fire had burned 10,373 acres, with containment sitting at 19% as of 6:13 p.m. per Cal Fire. Now that is some improvement. Earlier in the day, it was at 10%, but y'all, this fire is still burning at a moderate to dangerous rate of spread. The National Interagency Fire Center confirmed temperatures approaching and exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit across the Sierra front, with relative humidity down to 4 to 10% during peak afternoon hours, and that is about as bad as it gets for fire weather. The fuel, heavy grass, brush, and oak woodland is critically dry. The terrain is steep and rugged, making it extremely difficult to get crews and equipment into position. Over 1,600 state and local fire personnel are assigned to this incident right now, working around the clock with engines, hand crews, bulldozers, helicopters, and air tankers. Cal Fire has officially confirmed 7 structures destroyed by the Gann Fire. Over 1,470 residents have been forced to evacuate, and another 1,400 remain under evacuation warnings. If you are in Zone CCU 109, CCU 130B, CCU 139, CCU 1440, or CCU 147, that is a level 3. Go now order. Do not wait. Leave immediately. Road closures are in effect. Pool Station Road at Cement Plant Road is fully closed. Pool Station Road at Highway 4 is fully closed. And Hogan Dam Road at Hunt Road is fully closed. Smoke from the Gann Fire is impacting air quality across much of the Sierra foothills and portions of the Sacramento Valley, bad enough that schools in Calaveras Unified School District closed completely on Wednesday, though they are expected to reopen Thursday. Now, here is the detail that tells the whole story of this fire, and I am not making this up. Cal Fire investigators arrested Herbert Wayne Smith, 65 years old, of Valley Springs, on Monday evening on his birthday for recklessly causing this fire. According to Cal Fire, Smith was using equipment capable of producing sparks in dry vegetation without following state fire prevention requirements. He failed to clear flammable vegetation, failed to maintain required firefighting tools, and allowed the fire to escape the property. The case has been submitted to the Calaveras County District Attorney's Office for review. One saw, one birthday, 10,000 acres. In conditions like these, any ignition source near critically dry vegetation can become catastrophic within minutes, and this is the proof. Now let's head north into Oregon, where we have got another fire drawing attention in Klamath County, and this one flared up fast. The Wright Spring Fire, that is Fire 286, is burning on federal lands approximately 7 miles east of Highway 97 near Upper Klamath Lake between Derry and Chilikeen. As of the 10 p.m. update August 5th, firefighters estimated the fire at approximately 1,200 acres, though that remains an operational estimate, not an official final figure. Resources on scene include 11 engines, 5 water tenders, 2 helicopters, 8 single-engine air tankers, 3 large air tankers, 4 MFFs, that is modular airborne firefighting systems, and 4 20-person hand crews on order. About 100 firefighters were actively engaged through the night to strengthen control lines. The good news here, no evacuations and no closures issued as of the latest update. But avoid Forest Service roads 5813, 5818, and Road 22, also known as Switchback Road. Heavy fire traffic is moving through that corridor, and public use is strongly discouraged. Also worth mentioning, Oregon as a whole is having an extraordinary fire season. The state officially broke its annual wildfire acreage record just 3 days into August, surpassing 2 million acres burned across the state. That is a stunning number. Now, further north into Washington state, and y'all, this is where it gets really serious. The Spokane Complex fire is actually 3 fires: the Old Trails fire, the Autumn Lane fire, and the Fairview fire, all burning simultaneously in and around Spokane, Washington's second largest city, with a population of about 230,000 people. As of Wednesday evening, August 5th, the complex had burned 10,546 acres total. Old Trails and Autumn Lane are now at 13% containment, and the Fairview fire is at 5%. That is genuine progress from 0% earlier this week. But the human toll is severe. Nearly 850 structures have been damaged or destroyed. 67,000 people have been displaced from their homes. Mayor Lisa Brown called it, quote, the worst natural disaster our region has ever faced. Now, here is a critical development. On Monday evening, the Spokane County Sheriff announced that investigators believe the Old Trails fire was intentionally set. A 37-year-old man was arrested and booked into Spokane County Jail on $1 million bail. The cause of the Autumn Lane and Fairview fires remains under investigation. What made this outbreak so explosive over the weekend? The National Weather Service issued a particularly dangerous situation fire weather warning, that is a PDS, for parts of central and eastern Washington. North-northwest winds up to 35 miles per hour. Extremely dry conditions and critically low humidity created the perfect storm for rapid fire spread. Governor Bob Ferguson declared a state of emergency and issued a burn ban through September 30th. The Washington National Guard has been mobilized to assist with evacuations and firefighting support. Over 1,500 firefighters from 24 states are now battling the Spokane complex. And here is where we need to watch closely. Temperatures that dipped into the 80s midweek are expected to climb back into the upper 90s by the weekend. With no rain in the forecast, those containment lines need to hold. All right. Now let's talk about what the weather is doing to feed all of this, because this is not just bad luck. There is a very specific atmospheric setup at play here, and the National Interagency Fire Center confirmed it in their August 5th National Fire Update. According to NIFC, low relative humidity of 4 to 10% is developing along the Sierra Front and from the central Great Basin to the West Slope, with breezy west winds of 12 to 20 miles per hour and gusts to 30, temperatures approaching 100 degrees across the Northwest. And overnight recovery, NIFC says it will be poor, meaning humidity does not bounce back overnight the way it normally should. Fires never fully cool down, crews never get a break. The driver behind all of this is a strong upper-level ridge of high pressure. Think of that as a dome of high pressure in the atmosphere that acts like a lid, trapping heat near the surface and blocking any cooling or moisture from moving in. Beneath that ridge, surface winds are being channeled through terrain gaps and valleys, creating what meteorologists call downslope flow. Wind accelerating as it descends from elevation, compressing, warming, and drying as it drops. That is the same basic mechanism behind the Santa Ana winds in Southern California, hot, dry, fast-moving air descending from inland mountains toward lower terrain, big-time impactful. Now, here's the part that worries fire weather meteorologists the most, and this is where I want to be very precise with you because this is not exaggeration. It is the data. The drought code. That is a technical measurement of moisture deep in the organic layer. We are talking decomposed plant material a foot or more below the surface of the soil. A drought code above 700 means the moisture is essentially gone from deep underground. In British Columbia, where the Big Bar Complex and Brunswick Complex are also burning, Official BC Wildfire Service data shows the Riley Creek fire area reading a drought code of 1,059, French Bar Creek at 854, Bonanza Creek at 771. What that means in plain language: you need weeks of sustained, significant rainfall to meaningfully recharge that moisture. A weekend shower does not touch numbers like that. Now let's talk about what the models are showing going forward. And I want to be completely transparent with you because there has been some variation run to run. The NIFC August fire potential outlook issued August 1st shows above normal significant fire potential across most of the northwestern U.S. through August, from central Utah and western Wyoming all the way to the Pacific Northwest coast. The GFS, the American model, is showing persistent upper-level ridging through the end of the week. The European model, the ECMWF, is in general agreement. No meaningful divergence right now. Here is the honest breakdown: 3 scenarios, best to worst. Best case: the pattern change that forecasters are watching for the weekend arrives stronger than expected. Temperatures drop, humidity recovers overnight, crews make meaningful progress on the Gann Fire and the Spokane containment lines hold through the weekend. Middle case, and honestly, this is what the current data is pointing toward: the ridge rebuilds into the weekend. Temperatures in Spokane climb back into the upper 90s with no rain, and both the Gann Fire and Spokane complex continue to be active fire management challenges. Worst case, and I will not dramatize this, but I have to be honest with you, NIFC specifically flagged the potential for isolated dry thunderstorms over portions of the region. Dry thunderstorm, let me explain that term. A thunderstorm produces lightning and sometimes heavy rain at cloud level, but the atmosphere below is so dry that the rain evaporates before it ever reaches the ground. You get the lightning, no moisture. That is how Oregon broke its annual acreage record: prolonged drought, then a lightning siege. Dozens of new fires start simultaneously across terrain already primed to burn. My goodness. Now, there is a small but important piece of good news I need to mention, because I am not going to give you an all-doom picture when the data does not support that. Multiple forecast sources, including the Weather Company and the NWS, are indicating a gradual cool-down trend could arrive in the Pacific Northwest by this weekend. And into next week, there is potential for monsoon thunderstorm activity to extend into the northern Rockies, but that is a mixed blessing, not a rescue. Any rain falling over recently burned terrain risks dangerous flash floods and debris flows. And areas that receive only lightning without rain could see new ignitions. So we watch carefully. Once again, the fire weather index values we are seeing are at the extreme end of the scale. NIFC confirmed on August 5th. Relative humidity 4 to 10% along the Sierra front. Temperatures near 100 degrees across the Northwest. Very low overnight recovery. These are the conditions where a fire can double in size between sunrise and sunset. And the Gann Fire already showed us exactly that, going from 300 acres to 1,800 in just a few hours on its first night. If the day 5 and day 6 outlook holds, and right now there is no significant pattern change confirmed for active fire areas, we are looking at a prolonged multi-week fire weather episode across the western U.S. This is not a 48-hour story. We will be tracking every development with daily updates. All right, let's wrap it up. Here is the verified picture as of August 6th, 2026. Gann Fire, Calaveras County, California, 10,373 acres, 19% contained per Cal Fire, 7 structures confirmed destroyed. Wright Spring Fire, Klamath County, Oregon, approximately 1,200 acres estimated, active suppression ongoing, no evacuations issued as of the last update. Spokane Complex, Old Trails, Autumn Lane, Fairview, 10,500 acres, 13% and 5% containment, 67,000 evacuated, nearly 850 structures lost. And Oregon as a whole, over 2 million acres burned, breaking the state's annual record in early August. If you are under a level 3 evacuation order, that means go now, not in an hour. Not after you pack one more bag. Your life is worth more than anything inside that house. Early evacuation saves lives, and it gives firefighters the space they need to do their job safely. And please do not fly drones anywhere near active fire areas. Aircraft land when drones are spotted. and that means aerial water drops stop. Do not be the reason that happens. This is a developing situation across the entire western U.S. and Pacific Northwest. We will have daily updates as conditions evolve, because when this pattern shifts, you will want to know first. Make sure you like and subscribe and turn those notifications on. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there.